All right. Welcome back to another Hidden Gems live stream interview today. I hope everybody's having a good week. We are now on Wednesday. It's hump day, halfway through the week. So I hope everybody's doing well and pushing through. We're here with John Gregory, another new client of ours, a recent new client, defensive back, corner, strong safety type out of Ohio and Limestone University. I spent time at both programs, and so we're going to take some time here and get to know him. John, what's going on this evening?
Nothing much, man. You already know that Carolina Heat. I'm just living through it and working out, staying healthy.
What part of Carolina are you in currently?
Right now, I'm right on the border, right near Charlotte, Fort Mill area.
Yep.
So I'm getting the worst of both worlds, as most people say. I got the humidity and I got the traffic. So
Yeah, you do. I spent 10 years of my young adult life in North Carolina, so 8.5 in Jacksonville at Camp Lejeune, and then about a year and a half down in Red Springs, down in Robeson County, coaching high school football. So I know all about North Carolina and the weather and the traffic. If you're close to Charlotte, you're definitely getting traffic.
oh yeah, all throughout the day. It doesn't matter if people going to work, getting off work, getting lunch, coming back from lunch, anything.
Hey, don't feel bad. I live 45 minutes from Nashville, and we've got a car plant here. The electric Cadillac line is going to be run here, and all these union workers have come in, people migrating from up north and out west, and everybody seems to think my little hometown is the place to be. And so now at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everybody's either leaving town to go start second shift, or people coming home, or Monday through Wednesday, it's like being in a NASCAR race. Like, if you don't get up to, there's an exit that gets on that takes you up onto 65 north, and 840 is kind of like a loop that creates shortcuts east and west, and it's kind of like a NASCAR race. If you don't get ahead of the pace car coming off that ramp to get on the interstate, you're screwed. You're going to be about 30 to 45 minutes late.
Oh yeah.
If you are 5 minutes early getting ahead of, getting off that ramp onto the interstate, you'll be about 45 minutes early to work. You'll be sitting there trying to kill time. So you got to play it just right, and you can't get behind the pace car. You got to get off that ramp onto the interstate before all the traffic merges in. So
Exactly.
yeah, I know all about traffic, unfortunately. And even in a small town, everybody coming and going now, you can't just ride through town like you used to. Like, I'm in a small country town. You can just ride through town, no big deal. Go to the store, go eat, go home. Not a big deal. No, not now. It's traffic everywhere you look. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But
Oh yeah.
so now, were you born and raised in Carolina, or?
I was born in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and then my mom moved us down here for work. And you know where the Ballantyne area is in North Carolina?
Yep.
That's where we lived up until I think it was like first, second grade, and then we got into like South Carolina, like Fort Mill area. That's where I went to high school and stuff.
Okay. All right. I've got another DB who's in Waxhaw.
Waxhaw, yeah.
Yeah.
We got a lot of players over there, right?
Yeah. He played at Lenore Ryan.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Lenore Ryan, and I think Ohio Dominican, I think. So you and him both kind of took kind of similar patterns with your careers. So let's just kind of jump right into things. I mean, obviously talking about where you were born and raised. Where did you play your high school ball? Talk about that first. Let's just start with the beginning of the journey.
So I first started playing whenever it was like rec league. I was playing I didn't start playing football until I moved to South Carolina.
Okay.
Like
All right.
organized football. So I was like on a rec team.
Okay.
Then I got through it, and I went to elementary school. It was Indian Elementary School, Indian Middle School, and Indian High School.
Okay.
It was real small at the time. We were like 2A, so like our population was like really small. Like right like in the middle of my high school career, we jumped up, but like we weren't big enough. Like we just got above 2A to 3A, so we're playing all these teams that had like these huge kids and stuff, and like we just got here. We're like, oh man, like
yeah. I told you I coached high school ball over there. I coached 2A ball. You probably being close to the border and being in that 2A, 3A levels, you probably heard of a school down there called Scotland.
Scotland, I've heard of it. Never had a chance to play you guys though.
It's a big powerhouse down there. Wins a lot of state championships. Do you remember the recent running back from the University of Georgia, who is now in the NFL, Zamir White?
Yes.
They called him Zeus. So Zeus played at Scotland, down there in Laurinburg, North Carolina, right there near the state line.
That checks out. I'm not.
Yeah. So Zeus went to Georgia, and then he's with the Raiders now, I believe. And so,
nice.
yeah. So I got thinking, you're in that 2A, 3A. You probably recognize Scotland as one of those schools right down there in that area. So, what was it like for you in the high school ranks in the Carolinas? Because I know, having spent time there, that area of South Carolina and North Carolina, they tend to run the ball a lot. That's usually wing T, power football area. What was that like for you?
I like as soon as you said wing T, I had one team in mind, Central Pageland, and they probably still run it to this day. Like they just that's all it was wing T. And the problem was, right, you can say like, oh, they just ran that because their coach is old. No, they were winning. That's the problem. They were winning with it. So like that's all they did. So going against people like that, it got me real acclimated to just coming down on the run every single time, especially with a team like that. And the crazy part was my high school had never, and I don't think they played them again since I've been there. We never beat Central Pageland in our school history. So to think about like there's a team that you've just never beaten. Yes, I've been in that situation where I've never beaten a team ever. Like
that's crazy. That's just like Scotland. They I know when I was there in 16, 17, 18 time frame, pretty much the whole staff was former head coaches and they all had rings. And so it was just one of those schools, like they just went around beating people to sleep, and that's just what happened. And
exactly,
there wasn't nothing you could do about it. You just get in line, take your beating, and keep moving.
And that's how they do it too. They don't care if you still got to stop it.
Yeah, you do. I mean, the old saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I mean, if the wing team if it's working and they're winning, then why fix it?
Exactly.
Just keep doing what you do. Now, that doesn't translate real well with the college programs because everybody's a spread team now. But I do know from experience in that area of Southeast North Carolina and Northern South Carolina, that's still what they do to this day is wing T-ball. When I was over there, our head coach was this OC that he was one of those that tried to be the Mad Hatter type coach, and he would pull rabbits out of the hat and do weird things. And I'll never forget first Friday night we played and he lined up the offense. There were two fullbacks, like in a broken eye and an offset eye. And then a tailback. And I was like, what in the world is this nonsense? Like, I've never seen this before. And it was just power run game. It was just two fullbacks, leading the way. And but the way he had it set up, I'd never seen it before. And I thought, what in the world? Like, I saw Nebraska back in the 80s and 90s when I was a kid run the stack house, which was the I with two fullbacks and a tailback and run the triple option. but I never seen it in an offset type deal. And so yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop because I hadn't at that point in my coaching career, I hadn't coached wing T or been around a wing T team in a while. So when I got over there and that's what they were telling me, I was like, oh my Lord, like all the blocking schemes, the pulling, the
Everybody's crisscrossing it.
the loop around and the trap plays, and it's like, oh my Lord, I got to go back and really read the playbook and the rule book on wing T. So you learn how to obviously be physical as a DB. You had to learn how to come downhill and play in the box and defend the run. That's a huge bonus for a DB, obviously, because there's some DBs, I'll be honest, a little gun shy, and they don't really want that smoke. They don't want that contact down in the box. They'd rather stay out there on that island and backpedal. And teams look for players that are willing to be physical, come downhill and hit people. So that's a huge plus. But so, I mean, what was your high school career like? I mean, pretty productive, a lot of wins, awards and honors.
Not a lot of wins, unfortunately. Right. But I mean, I had a great coach. I was coached by Horatio Blades. He played in the NFL and he played at Pittsburgh University. So he was my head coach for my junior and senior year, and he was my defensive coordinator all throughout my entire high school career. So he taught me a lot of stuff. He was the person who believed in me enough to start me at free safety my freshman year, about halfway into the season, because somebody got hurt. And he was like, I mean, he went up to my parents and he told them, he said, look, your son is starting. Like that was it. Like he didn't say anything else. That's how he started the conversation, and that's how he ended it. He just left it at that. Wow. But as a production, I always made it because, I mean, my freshman year, I was timid in the fact of this is my first start. I don't want to mess anything up.
Right.
So whenever I got in there at safety, I made it a point to be the deepest man. So wherever I saw the deepest route going, I would read the QB's eyes and I would make sure that I'm leaning that way. So he knows, like, look, if you throw it this way, I'm going to be right there on it, kind of thing. And then I went from safety my freshman year to my sophomore year. He said, look, you're good enough to play corner. Like it's easy. You just got to follow one guy around. I went to like a shadow corner type where wherever their best receiver goes, you go. So, I mean, that's how I learned to play corner really well. I mean, it's just like playing basketball. It's how I imagined it whenever I first got out there. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. So I'm doing that. And it helped a lot with the fact of only one team in our conference did the wing T. So it was like, all right, other teams run the ball, but every team we played always had one really good receiver. And it was really simple. It was like, all right, just follow number 15. That's it. Like, that's how it was all game. And it's like, I mean, too, like mentally it gets boring. Yeah. But like physically, you're like, no, I got to make sure this guy doesn't win even on run plays. Like he can't block me no matter what. So I mean, it went from that. And then, like, this is where the production came, because they saw, like, all right, this kid, like, he just came out of nowhere. He played safety last year, and now he's at corner. All right, let's start trying him. So, like, I was getting a lot of PBUs. And then my junior year came around, and I'm still playing corner. And now that's when the interceptions started to come, because people are still trying me because, I mean, they probably think it's a fluke. So, and then once I got all those interceptions, the next year came around, my senior year, and now nobody wants to try me because they saw the film from last year. So it was one of those ones where they see like a really good corner over there. It's like, well, let's just not even try him. Like he's just over there. Let's leave him over there, and we'll just run the ball. Like that was kind of how it was.
So did you earn a lot of awards and honors as a DB in high school, or all conference, or all region, or all county, or?
I can't remember if I won all conference, but for my team, I got best defensive player, best defensive back, and on offense, I believe I got best receiver. I don't think I got like all region or anything like that, because our team wasn't too good to like where like anybody like had a chance to get some awards, because a lot of coaches base it off of like, if your team is good, all right, we'll give awards to some guy on the team kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Um, so what type of defenses were you operating out of in high school at that point? I mean, did you guys have different schemes, or did you just have like one general scheme that y'all operated out of with 4-2-5, 3-3-5, 4-3? I know
It
high
was
schools kind of a lot of times they don't get too complex at it.
yeah, they just put kids out there and tell them just go forward. Yeah, no, like
Yeah, a lot of coaches do, truthfully.
with Horatio Blades being our head coach and our defensive coordinator, it wasn't simple. So like it
Really?
was yeah, like he made it like I think he's the reason I understand defenses so well to this day because he didn't try to sugarcoat it, he didn't try to baby it. Like we were running NFL style defenses. Like we had checks and everything if somebody came out in a certain formation. So like we ran a 4-3, and then like we just all the DBs in the back kind of like, I mean, it was basically man coverage almost most of the time because that's how we wanted it. Because there was me and this other kid, he was really good at DB too. So it was like, well, we could just leave you guys on islands, and we'll try to stop the run game because everybody runs in the Carolinas. So
Yeah. So do you feel like you're more comfortable in man coverage, or do you feel more comfortable in a zone scheme?
whenever it comes to corner, I like playing man more. But whenever I'm playing safety, I like playing zone simply because I know it messes with the quarterback's head a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So you finished your high school career. Talk about your college career? How did you end up at Ohio University and then Limestone? What made you choose those schools? How'd you end up there? And then let's talk about your time at Ohio University starting. Let's kind of talk about the time there and production and the positions you played, schemes you operated out of. Kind of take us through that.
Oh yes, sir, yes, sir. So it all started whenever I went up to Pennsylvania to a Pittsburgh camp.
Okay.
So I'm up there and I run my like the 40 is the first thing that we did. I run a 4.5 flat is what they had me at.
Okay.
So that got everybody's eyes on me. And then I can't remember exactly what my shuttle was. I think my shuttle was a 4.22. My broad was a 9.11. And then I get out there for like these one-on-ones, these mock 7-on-7s, like where they teach you a defense on the fly and you just got to run it.
Yep.
So like I'm out there and I'm killing that. They had it to a point like where they chose a certain receiver and me and him were just going at it just all day. Like that's just kind of how it was. I think he was from Texas or somewhere. And then by the end of it, I'm like, well, like everybody's huddling up and I'm walking back. And you know Joe Burrow, the quarterback of the Bengals, his dad was the defensive coordinator at Ohio University.
Wow.
And he saw me at this camp and he's running over to me. He's talking about, he's like, hey. He's getting my attention. And like, before we even get to the huddle for Pitt, he's telling me, he asked me, like, you got any offers? I said, no, sir. He said, we would like, Ohio University would love to be your first official offer for any college team out there.
Wow.
So, I mean, I was keeping that in mind. Like, that wasn't my only offer, but I'm thinking that in my head right now, like they liked me off of what they saw, not off of what other people are offering me. So I was like, I got to keep that in mind. And I took the visit. I loved the campus. I felt really comfortable. It felt great. I ended up going there. I went there early. I graduated high school early, a full semester early, and I went there. I did winter ball. That was a shell shock for sure. Being in Ohio in the winter for the first time in my life, that was a crazy time in my life.
That's probably one of the first times you saw snow, huh?
Oh yeah, in a long time.
I was gonna say, yeah. Being in the Carolinas, you don't see snow
ever. Like I remember one time they said we was gonna get 5 feet of snow. We got 2 inches. They shut everything down.
I saw snow one time in the Carolinas, and it was 2000, I guess it was. Yeah, after my first deployment, I was home, and it was really weird. It got really cold, and it snowed about 3 or 4 inches. shut the whole town down because obviously they don't have salt trucks and treatments and stuff. So the Marines, units on base took 5-ton trucks, went out to the beach and got sand and threw sand on the roads, and which obviously tears cars up. But they didn't know
Yeah.
anything. And the funny thing was the snow hit and it was cold as crap. And by like 12:30 that day, noon, it was back up to 85 degrees and sunny again. So it's one of the weirdest experiences I ever had weather-wise. That wait 10 minutes, it'll change. It changed from one end of the spectrum to the other. So yeah, so I can imagine being in Ohio. Probably hadn't seen snow like that in quite some time.
Oh my god, ever. That was a whole lot of snow out of nowhere too. And I mean, learning the defense wasn't hard. It wasn't hard. I think it was the fact that it was the whole culture of doing classes at the same time as learning the defense that got to me at first. Because now I'm trying to learn all this new stuff at the same time as learning the defense. And we're running exactly what I want. We're running purely man as like a cover 4 shell because he wants to stop the run. He's running a 4-3 cover 4 shell, and he said, "Look, we're leaving the corners on islands. Good luck." Like that's just how it was.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, and I mean that was good. We won a bowl game, and then he told us like, yeah, I want to watch my son play football. So he left. We got another defensive coordinator. He ran basically the same he ran basically the same defense, but it was a cover 3 shell. Wow. So his was like, it was like we ran a cover 3 to start with, and like we could modify it from there, but we mainly ran cover 3 man out of that. Like yeah, it was cover 3 match. So like it was a zone man concept. Like if somebody comes in your zone, that's your man now. Like that's how we ran it.
So and you've been used to being a man cover corner pretty much everywhere you've been.
Oh yeah. I mean that's how I like it though. I don't like letting my man go somewhere because then if he catches the ball, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, I could have just took him. Like
yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's very true. I mean, that's a good way to look at that. So while you're at Ohio University, and again, I apologize, I'm just reading from your bio. You played in roughly 33 games over the span of your career, 5 years there. 33 solo, 29 assisted. So you had 62 total tackles in your career. You had 2.5 tackles for loss, half a sack, 1 interception, 3 pass deflections. Not a bad stat line. I mean, pretty productive career at Ohio University. Talk a little bit about your production there and what you learned in your time there.
Oh yes, sir. My first my first couple games, I didn't play defense. I was playing special teams, and as all the coaches would call me, they said John's a special teams guru. Like that's just how it was. Like, and I remember one of the coaches, like he was describing it to me. He was like, "Yeah, man." He said, "Whenever we're making special teams, he said we already know John's going to be on it." He said, "We just got to find the other 10 guys." That's so like it didn't matter what it was: kickoff return, punt. I was out there every single time. Like I was the guy who didn't take his helmet off because I didn't know when I was going to go back out there, kind of thing. So that was majority of my
that's the best way to do it, is to make yourself useful. That's the best way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Be a part of everything.
I was buying my time right there. I was making sure they saw me.
I mean, you're on the field, they don't have no choice but to see you, you know. If you're off the field, they don't see you. So hey, you got to volunteer for everything. It's just how you stay on the field.
Exactly. And then so I did that for 2 years.
Okay.
Only playing special teams. And then the year right after COVID is when I started getting my play time as starting at corner because of injuries. And I mean, some people just couldn't get the job done. That's just how it was.
Right.
So then I started getting my stat line at corner, and that was a lot of people were trying me there because it's like, well, this guy, he mostly plays special teams. They got injuries. He said, well, let's go ahead and try him. So I got a lot of PBUs from that. And I believe at one point in time, like my parents pointed this out to me. I didn't even hear it. My defensive coordinator at the time, he said that I was like the most improved defensive player like that was playing that season, which I mean, I love to hear that because I mean, that's exactly what I was trying to do. I was trying to become the best person I could.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the craziest part about that was that defensive coordinator's last year. So he ended up leaving. Wow. And then we got a whole new defensive coordinator. So I had to learn a whole new defense again.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this is the third defense I had to learn within less than 5 years of playing at the same school.
Wow.
And like, I mean, at no point in time did anybody ever doubt that I could learn it. Like even most of the people, like even like regular people that started all the time, they were asking me questions about the defense because I mean, it just came naturally to me, like just learning that kind of stuff. Wow. So then my last year at Ohio University, that's when I decided to make a switch to safety just to get some playing time. And I was sharing reps with somebody, and I mean I got a few plays here, a few plays there, and then I played the first half against Penn State. I tied the team with the leading amount of tackles and only played the first half of the game.
Wow.
And then come the fourth game of the season, I ended up getting an injury right before halftime. Whenever I was on kick return, I was blocking somebody, and then our kick returner, he fell while he was behind me. He got tackled and fell on my ankle, which gave me a high ankle sprain.
Ouch.
It had to be the worst timing too, because my pride wanted me to go out there because my coach was like, all right, we're going to have you start in safety the second half of this game. So, and I didn't tell him I was injured. So I'm going out there with an injury looking bad. And like, I mean, there was nothing I could do about it. He pulled me out because I wasn't playing good. And all I'm thinking in my head is I should have told him I had an injury and not played.
Yeah. Yeah. You should have just been honest about it and sat down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from that point on, I was like, no, like anytime anything like that happens, I'm letting somebody know. Cause I mean, that effectively almost ruined my reputation as a player of even being good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I played a little bit of safety in that game, which, I mean, those were terrible reps. But then after that, I was trying to nurse my injury back. I was trying to come back fast. And I remember this so vividly as it happened. Like this was almost a week after I got injured. I'm trying to come back as fast as I can so I can play. They switched me to corner because we're low on people at corner. And I'm running. And the head coach at the time, Tim Albin, because Frank Solich, he retired. So we got Tim Albin as our head coach. He's a real nice guy. Like he's going to be completely honest with you. He's a real people kind of guy, nicest person I've ever met, honestly. And he saw me running because they wanted to see how I looked running. I came back to him and he has this like disappointed like look on his face. He said, "No," he said, "I'm not letting you play this game." He said, "I can see you limping while you run." And I remember being so upset about that. But I mean, I need to call him and tell him thank you for that because I mean I could have made it way worse for myself had I go out there and try to keep playing.
Yep.
And I mean, even then, I was trying to rush back every other week for like the rest of the season.
He was trying to help you, and you didn't see it. You were trying to get back on the field because you thought that's what mattered most, but he was making a business decision for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I still had that was in my last year eligibility. So I'm thinking maybe he was thinking into the future.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, like I've seen what you can do. Like I'd rather have you back fully healthy or something. But I mean, I wasn't seeing it that way. I was thinking my time's running out. I got to get back out on the field.
Right.
Which I mean, that didn't help me at all. And then I ended up having a talk with someone like the defensive coaches, and I mean, it was one thing led to another, and like we basically came to the decision of like, yeah, I mean, it'd be better for us to part ways. So I ended up leaving Ohio University, and I truly believe God led me to Limestone University because I told myself like the next school I go to, it's got to bring me closer to God. And whenever I talked to the head coach at the time, Mike Furry, he played in the NFL and he coached a little bit in the NFL.
Okay.
He brought up God before I did. He said, yeah, like one thing we do is we talk about God all the time. He said we have Bible study every night before games, all that stuff. And I'm sitting here thinking in my head, yeah, no, this is it. I don't need to go anywhere else. Like this is the team I need to be on.
That's crazy how that happened.
Exactly, right? And it's all glory to God too, because I mean there's no way all that happened like that by accident, kind of thing.
No, things happen for a reason.
Exactly. And then I'm talking to probably the craziest guy I've ever met in my life, Coach Clark, the defensive coordinator. And I'm asking, I'm like, yeah, like, what do you guys do with your corners? Like, what kind of defense do you play? He said, press. We play man defense. I said, all right, that's good. And I get there, and they had me playing everywhere. I'm talking nickels, safety, free safety, strong safety, corner. They didn't care. They said, look, he said, if you're the best at position, we're going to put you out there. That's just how it is. And, I mean, he stood by it. I have several games where I played mostly corner, and I have a lot of games where I played mostly safety. I moved down to nickel sometimes to play man defense on a star receiver. Like that was he definitely used me as much as he could. That's for sure.
Well, let me ask you, your bio online doesn't have any stats listed. Why didn't Limestone actually? Oh, wait a minute. There it goes. It did post. Okay. I looked at it earlier, and for some reason it didn't pull, but now it's pulling up. So you had 7 games, 19 solo, 8 assisted, 27 more tackles, 1 tackle for loss, interception, 9 pass deflections. So you had a pretty productive career at Limestone. So
and it's not even showing all the stats on that. I had 2. I think it said 2 interceptions. I had 2 forced fumbles. They always they scratch one of those out. They messed the stats up. I got film for it and everything. I told my coach. I said, make sure they get my stats, man. I need that.
We'll get that cleaned up on your profile. We'll make sure that's noted.
Oh yeah. Because I mean, we came in one time. We just got done playing Wingate, and I remember I forced a fumble, and my friend, his name's Lomax. He got on the ball, right? So I forced it. He got on it. We come in next week. They talking about Lomax forced the fumble and got on it. I said, whoa. I said,
hey, wait, what about me?
Yeah, I'm about to say, they just going to give you everything, huh?
So you ended up career-wise technically with like 52 solo, 37 assisted, 52, 37, that's what, 89. So about 89 total tackles in your career. 3.5 for loss, half a sack, 3 interceptions total in your career, 9 pass deflections. Let's see, 9.
2 forced fumbles.
9 and 3. Oh, you had 12 pass deflections total. 2 forced fumbles, you said. 2, and then what? 2 fumble recoveries.
Oh no! I ain't get them. Sadly, I didn't get them.
So you got 2 forced fumbles. So yeah. So really, overall not a bad production line at all. I mean, it's a pretty respectable production line. Now,
yes, sir.
In college, did you have any all-conference honors or
sadly
consideration for anything? Or
sadly no, and I can't say we was bad teams then, because I mean I played on some really good teams this time around. So I mean I don't know what I could have did differently. Maybe I could have got a few more interceptions, few more forced fumbles.
Absolutely.
But so yeah,
you're what? Roughly what? 6'2"?
Around 6'2". So you ask certain people, they'll say 6'1 3/4. I don't believe in quarters. I just round up to $1. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Ain't nothing wrong with that, my friend. I take every quarter of an inch I can get. I've been 5'7" my whole life, and believe me, when I got in the Marine Corps, they measured me at like 5'6 3/4", and I learned this trick of how to
You gotta, yeah.
press up on your heels to kind of get that other quarter of an inch. And they said, okay, 5'7".
Yeah, you gotta put that chin up. Put that chin up.
You know, raise your chin up a little bit more, kind of press up on your heels a little bit more. Like, I'll take every quarter of an inch I can get.
Exactly.
So what's your normal playing weight? 200, 205, 210? Where do you play at?
It's between 200 to 205, depending on the day. All of last year, I played at like 203. Whenever I was at Ohio University, I clocked in at like 210 most games.
Okay.
And I gotta say, right, for the sack, the half sack, it's really a full sack if you watch the film. My teammate, he jumped on my back, so they gave him half of it. And I'm still upset about that to this day.
I believe you. And I mean, I
I'm like, I think about it all the time. Like, man, he really.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll note it accordingly, but just going off these college bios, that's what it says.
Oh
right?
yeah, nah, yeah.
I can't help that. Get over the statistician, tell them to get it right.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to call them up.
So 6'2".
6'2", 200. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. You got to get your numbers, See,
My bad.
You're 6'2", you play around 200, 205. I mean, you got good size.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dog's letting hey, pay attention here.
Yeah, I don't know why he's freaking out right now. He's over here barking at something. Come here.
So you stand 6'2", you play around 200, 205, which is good size. Now, which do you prefer as your primary position, safety or corner?
I prefer safety because I like calling the shots. I've always been a strategizer in my head.
Okay.
And for me personally, I would never put myself in a good position if it means jeopardizing my corner.
Okay.
Like I'm always like, whenever I'm playing football out there, I've always had a non-selfish kind of outlook on it. Like, if I think this is going to put me in a hard position to win, but it's the best position for our entire defense, I'm gonna put myself in a hard position to win, because I would rather put it on me than anybody else.
Okay, I got you. So, since you finished your college career, obviously you've been prepping and trying to lock in your first professional opportunity. Most recently, you attended a UFL combine. How did that go?
I think it went really well. I mean, they didn't tell me any numbers. I thought I did really good. People were saying I didn't stutter out my breaks. I didn't false step, none of that. And I mean, that's the DB drills. That's the easy stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's getting the good numbers. Like I'm still trying to get a good time on that 40, because every time I've done the 40, I haven't done it fresh. And I think if I had the opportunity to do it fresh, like how they do it at the NFL combine, I would definitely clock a way better time than any like 4.5 anything. I know I could hit a 4.4 easy.
Okay. What did you clock on the UFL combine, if you don't mind me asking?
The UFL combine, they didn't even tell me anything. They were keeping it a secret. I asked people that had stopwatches. They were talking about, oh no, we don't got the times. I'm like, all right.
Oh, I'll find out. I'll talk to Doug Whaley and find out for sure. I'll get the times on that. So let's just move right into it then. What is your off-season program been like thus far since you finished your college career? And what I mean by that, it's kind of a couple pieces to this. So how many days a week are you training? 3, 4, 7, 6, 5? What are you
I'm
focused
pretty,
on each day? What does your nutrition program look like? What does your flexibility program look like? Meaning, what are you doing for those areas? And what does your recovery program look like? What do you like to do for recovery? Whether that be chiropractor, cupping, um, massages, cryotherapy, ice baths, acupuncture. Like, what do you do for those areas? So kind of break down. Take us through a week with John, and what does your training program look like each day? What are you focused on each day? And just kind of run us through some of that.
I got you. I got you. So on a typical day, I wake up around 8:30. I
Okay.
get up, I walk my dog, I come back inside, and I start getting ready. I start hydrating to go work out, and I leave a good hour ahead of the time that I need to, even though it's like 30 minutes away.
Okay.
And I get there around 11:30. I go work out at Velocity Performance with Jed over in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
I mean, he's always going to put you through the ringer. That's for sure. One thing about it, every person I've talked to since I've been here since like January, they all said, "Yeah, no, Jed's workouts are harder than any NFL workout you could possibly do."
Wow.
Yes, I mean and I go Monday through Friday mandatory with him, and then Saturdays I do my own thing, like any type of body weight workout, just to make sure I still got it, like I'm not just getting heavy or anything.
Yeah.
And then Sundays is purely an off day. Go to church, relax, don't do anything, get off my feet. But whenever I get back from my workout with Jed, I get home around 1:45, 2 o'clock, maybe with the traffic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and then I get home, I make myself a protein shake, I eat a little bit of food, I stretch, I have my own foam roller, I have a massage gun, I make sure I hit any sore areas. And I mean, of course, I'm always stretching out the areas that Jed says I'm bad at, which apparently is everywhere. so I'm working on that. I'm trying to get as flexible as possible. And normally with most recovery days, which is like every other week, maybe every week, I go get a massage just to work out some knots that I just can't reach myself. I mean, it's hard to massage your own back. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true.
but as far as my diet goes, I'm vegan, so I'm not really eating no greasy, no fried food, anything like that. I mean, I've been vegan it's getting close to 6 years now. I've been vegan.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's
How did you make that transition?
that the transition itself. The first thing I cut out was like cheese. That was probably the hardest one, because pizza, that's really good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys it's like that's easy stuff. No, like it was really hard. But I mean, like on a daily basis, I didn't really eat like any kind of meat like that, so it was really easy to let go of the whole meat part. It was more so like dairy, cheese, and stuff like that. So I mean, it was like slowly replacing that. And then as I got into it, I found it better not to find replacements for like cheese and dairy. It was just like, well, just don't eat stuff that has it, that requires you to have it in there. And I mean, that's kind of how I got through it. And ever since then, the closest I'll get to any like dairy product is like almond milk, and that's it.
Wow. So that process, did that help you like drop weight, or what exactly did going vegan do for you?
The only thing going vegan did for me specifically was it gave me a little bit more energy. It gave me cleaner weight to put on, because whenever I started being vegan, it was near the end of my freshman year in at Ohio University, and I was 185. So whenever that happened, I actually gained weight and then lost it back to stay at 185. And then ever since then, I've been slowly going up, and now I'm at 200.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for a while now.
Okay. So you become kind of a resident expert in a sense.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, one second. Let me grab my laptop charger. Make sure this doesn't
Yeah,
die.
absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead. So while he's doing that, I want to let anybody that's watching know that if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to type that in the comment section below on any one of the platforms, and we will stop, take a moment to address those questions or comments. So just wanted to throw that out there while John's hooking the charger up here. So now, are you like interested in like coaching, like nutrition coach, self help coach, coaching football? Like, is that kind of an interest to you at all, or no?
Oh, I mean, I would definitely try it out. I mean, I think I'm more on the side of I've never thought about it because it was never an opportunity.
Sure.
But I mean, I wouldn't be against that at all because I mean, I've being vegan, you got to know a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my mom's a pharmacist, so if I didn't know it before, she's gonna tell me about it.
Wow. So, if your mom's a pharmacist, now what are your degrees or degree in? What kind of degrees do you have at this point?
Oh yeah, I took the opposite direction. I went for I have a double major in finance and business analytics with a minor in psychology.
Okay. How does psychology come in with business and analytics and finance?
I'm gonna keep it real honest with you. At first, I was a psychology major,
Oh
but
wow.
I found out I was really good at math, so I was like, well, I might as well just do math instead.
So okay, all right. Okay. So you have what? Two bachelor's degrees or?
They count it as one. They count it as business administration. They just went ahead and combined it. So I
Okay.
don't get credit for two, unfortunately.
Wow. Okay. Well, all right. Do you have a graduate degree yet? Are you working on that or?
No sir, no sir. Just the bachelor's.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, um, you talked about flexibility, and your trainer felt like you need to be more flexible. Are you doing yoga classes, or have you looked into yoga as part of your training regimen, or?
I used to do a lot of yoga back before May. I did a lot of yoga. Now I kind of just do it on my own a little bit. You know, the prices are crazy, so I can't just go whenever I want to.
True, true. What's your favorite position in yoga?
It's definitely Warrior One.
Okay,
That's yeah, yeah.
mine was tree.
Tree.
Tree's easy enough to do. So, um, about 11 years ago, I was a head middle school coach out in southeast Tennessee towards Chattanooga, and they wanted to implement yoga into the PE curriculum. And so they brought up a professor from the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga to teach all the PE teachers. And I was an elementary PE teacher. I was pre-K through eighth grade, and I was the head middle school football coach. And so they come in, and during in service, we had to do this class with her, and she was teaching, what yoga was and different poses and how we could implement it into our curriculum and all that. And so she's teaching poses, and of course she, teaches what I don't remember which one it was, but anyway, downward dog or something. I don't remember, but anyway, everybody had to demonstrate the pose that she had taught to see if we, you know, retain the information. And so she walks by, and I'm just standing there, and she said, "Are you not going to get into the pose?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I'm not." She said, "Well, why not?" And I said, "Well, I have a combat related injury to my lower back. I have titanium rods and screws and a metal cage in my back. Pretty certain I can't get into that position." And she said, "Well, how are you going to teach yoga to the kids?" And I said, "It's easy. You get another kid, put them up, and they're your demonstration person. That's real simple. Have the kid do it." So,
Yeah.
um, Yeah. I think yoga is very beneficial, and a lot of athletes swear by it. They talk about how it helps with flexibility. So I didn't know if that was something that you've added to your training regimen, or now with your off-season training program, are you working with a position coach trainer to maintain fundamentals and techniques, or what are you doing on the field work side of things?
On the field work, I go out every other 3 days to make sure I'm still good. I go over the basics because I mean I've been taught so many drills
Yeah,
throughout my entire career. So I go over the ones and I envision a scenario in my head. And I normally go out there with somebody because I always tell people, like, if you're going to train to be a DB, don't go off your own rhythm because that doesn't make sense. You never do that in a game. I tell them always get somebody to turn you, to bring you down, to make you backpedal, to make you stop, because our job is all reactionary, and it would be bad for us to go out there and do a drill that has us look down to react, or to go off our own backpedal and break down, because it doesn't really help that much.
sure, absolutely, absolutely, makes sense. A lot of guys do work with position coaches during the off season, and it can be very helpful. I just didn't know if that was something that you felt necessary in your off season program. Obviously, you have flexibility and the freedom to create your own program and do what you want to do and how you want to do it, what you feel best benefits you. So, just wanted to get some insight kind of into what that part of your world looks like every day. Um, let's talk about leadership. You know, typically there's two kinds of leaders. There's the quiet lead by example type, and then there is the loud, boisterous, rah rah type leader. Um, which one are you, and why do you say that?
I would say I would say I'm kind of a combination of both. And
Okay.
the reason I say that is like, and I noticed this more whenever I went to Limestone.
Okay.
Whenever I got there, I wasn't looking to be a leader. I was looking to just make an impact and let the people that have already been there be leaders, because I didn't want to mess up anything they had going on. So little did I know that, I mean, if you play good enough and you're a starter, people look at you as a leader, kind of thing, right?
True. True.
And me, I don't like when people mess up, because if I'm playing with you, I want you to be as perfect as you can be. So what I
Makes sense.
normally, yeah, like what I normally do is I won't tell anybody they're doing anything wrong, like behavior wise or anything like that, unless I know for a fact it's wrong. But
Okay.
I'll more so sit back at first and watch and see how you interact with people and like how you play football. And if it's impeding on what we need to get done, that's when I'll be like yo, like, can you do this a different way, or like, you really shouldn't be doing that. Kind of like I'm not the kind of person that's gonna, like, if somebody messes up during a play, I'm not the kind of person that's gonna yell at you, be like, oh, like, MF this, like, what are you doing? I'll come up to you, be like, all right, next play, let's get it. Like, I'm more of like an encouraging, like, I'm not gonna yell at you because I'm gonna make a mistake. So what's the point in yelling at you? Like, if I make a mistake and everybody's yelling at me, and I know yelling doesn't make me feel better, it doesn't help at all. I need you to tell me what I did wrong, because everybody
Yeah.
can yell, but can't everybody tell you what you did wrong? And that's what I do. I'll come up to them like, yo, look, you should have been outside of that. Let's get the next play. It's gonna come right back to us. I promise you.
Right.
And that's how I talk to my teammates. I'll tell them what they did wrong, and then I'll tell them, like, look, make sure you don't forget it, because that dude that's in the box up there, he saw you mess up. They're going to come back to that play because it worked the first time.
Okay. So let's talk about that in that whole leadership side of things. Um, you obviously alluded to in college mostly, 4-3, cover 3, cover 4, man coverage. Talk about your responsibilities within those schemes. I'm not asking you to give away secrets or strategies of that school, but talk in generalities. What are your general responsibilities? What are the ideas, or not ideas? What are what's the right word here? What is the purpose of those schemes, so to speak?
Okay, so I got you on this one. This is actually like one of the better questions that I like. So
I like to ask these questions because I like for you to be able to demonstrate in the interview your football IQ, your understanding of schemes and strategies, and your position responsibilities, because that kind of goes along with being a leader. You can't lead others if you don't know what the schemes are and what the purpose of it is and what the responsibilities are. So take it away. Floor is yours.
so normally, like whenever I'm playing safety, my responsibility was because being a safety, you're further back than the linebackers, right? So
Right.
linebackers, they have a limited view on everything. So they're calling initially what they think is the best call. Now, if I'm back there and I see something different as far as alignments of the receivers, where the QB's looking before the play starts, how the receiver ran out there to line up, if the receivers switch on and off the ball,
Okay.
scheme wise, I have to ask myself, what's the down and distance? What play did they just run? What play haven't they ran that's their favorite play? And also, how are the receivers running out there? People don't pay attention a lot to that because when a receiver feels like he's getting the ball, his energy is going to be up. He's focused. He's looking around. He's trying to make sure everything's okay. If he's blocking, he might jog out there. He might not even look at you. He might just be, well, I know I got to block the guy in front of me. Let me just line up and just do what it takes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So whenever it comes to stuff like that, I'm making calls based on mannerisms almost most of the time, because there's a big difference between when a receiver lines up on the hashes, other than when he lines up middle, right in between the hashes, right in between the numbers, right? Like that's a whole different play call for the offense. And the linebacker, he can't necessarily see that. Like that's my job to see that. I got to see that stuff. So if the linebacker makes a call that's good for the run game, but everything else is showing me pass, I gotta tell everybody, look, no, we gotta play this one because they're showing something completely different than what we just called. So it's more of a chess match throughout the entire game. Like I'm the spokesperson. I'm just speaking for my defensive coordinator who knows I got it down.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. I like being the centerpiece, being able to just call something within the range that he gives me to where I'm like, all right, no, we practiced this before. This is something completely different.
Do you feel it's important to communicate with those linebackers and to make sure everybody's on the same page?
Oh, yes, sir. 100%. It's like you don't want to throw your car into fifth gear as soon as you step on the gas, because that's going to mess everything up. You don't want your linebackers to be blitzing whenever you're supposed to be in cover 3, unless that cover 3 calls for it. Like you don't want that empty space unless everybody's aware that there's going to be an empty space there.
True.
So if I don't communicate with the linebackers, now I got to worry about a receiver running a glance right where they ran, and I'm supposed to be the post safety.
Yeah.
And there's been times where that's happened where I see a linebacker about to blitz, but I know if I don't get back deep, they're going to have a bigger shot. So I'm slow pedaling it, and I see the quarterback looking, and I gotta break on when the ball's thrown instead of playing it how I really wanted to, because now I'm trying to play safe because somebody decided to mess up. And I'll try to tell him, I'll be yelling at him ahead of like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he still goes, and it's like, oh man.
So in the times that maybe the calls have been wrong or gotten miscommunicated, are you quick to own up to it and take accountability for that, or how do you usually handle that?
Oh, yes, sir. Like if we come off to the sideline and the coach is talking about like, why do we run that? Why do we run that? I'll be the first person to be like, that was my fault. I called that. Like that was on me. I saw something different, and that's why I called it. Like I'll tell them exactly what my thought process was on why I called it. I mean, that rarely happens. That was probably like a one-time thing. So sure. I mean, it's not going to happen that often. Like, and then there'll be times where he's like, well, why don't we do this? And I'll be like, well, you told us whenever this happens, do that. And he'll be like, well, yeah, never mind. Yeah, I guess. and he'll start changing the defense in the middle of the game. Be like, well, if they're going to keep giving us that, like,
and that's what coordinators do. You got to make
Exactly.
You got
Yeah.
to play the chess game. You got to make adjustments.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes those adjustments are made in the middle of the battle, not at halftime.
Exactly. And
You know?
there's been times where like I'll move around like before the play just to try to give the QB a different look. And I remember one game specifically, I moved down, and I can't say the call because he probably still runs it. I came down, and the QB, he immediately checked the call. Like he looked directly at me, and then made a check, and then they ran like a whole different play than what was going to come out of that formation. And I came in at halftime, and I told my defensive coordinator that, and he said, "All right, good." And we started running a play we hadn't practiced in like 3 weeks because he knew it was going to start messing with the QB, and everybody. I'm so glad everybody actually looked at their playbooks because it actually worked the whole second half.
Wow, that's crazy. So let's talk about the flip side of the leadership topic. Athletes are a lot of times role models. You guys are inspirations for young athletes, young adults, youth in general, people in general. Um, we talked about being a leader, but now let's talk about the role model side. How important is it to you, the image that you portray on and off the field, to those who may look up to you or think of you as a role model?
I would say it's extremely important. I would say that's probably top of the list. Is like what's really important to me whenever I play football and like how I carry myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have cousins that are younger than me that are still in high school, and they're playing football right now, and they ask me questions all the time. And if I'm not able to answer those questions, or if they see me doing the opposite of what I told them to do, they're not going to want to do what I do because they're like, well, he's just saying that just because, or no, he doesn't really mean that because he acts like this. So, I mean, I always try to be a good role model for anybody because, I mean, unfortunately, we don't know who's watching. And I mean, that's how it is at the end of the day. And the way I look at it is this is how I always treat like how I live my life on the football field, off the football field. I always ask myself, if I had kids sitting in the stands, would I still act like that? Like if they were my kids, would I want them to act how I'm acting?
That's a unique way of looking at it. Very unique way of looking at it. So, in college ball especially, not so much high school, but college, and then as you move on to becoming a professional, there's always community service requirements. And I'm sure in the past you've been a part of certain activities. Now, every program, every coach, every team, every athletic department has a different philosophy on what that looks like. They have a different view on what that looks like. Whether it's Habitat for Humanity, building homes for less fortunate or homeless people, or maybe it's soup kitchens or food drives or mentoring kids at the Boys and Girls Club, or like Iowa, they visit the Children's Hospital, and at halftime, they stop and is it not halftime? Is it halftime? It's either halftime or maybe the third quarter. They stop the game and turn and wave to the kids in the Children's Hospital watching through the windows.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
What community service efforts have you been a part of in your collegiate career? And then on the other side of that, talk about things that you've maybe read about or seen or heard about, seen on TV, been told about, read about on social media, whatever. And you've said, hey, when I become a pro athlete, I want to get involved with that. I want to leave my mark on that part of community service. Talk about those two things.
Well, I can remember from last year specifically in Limestone, we were really good at like the entire team went and did community service all around Gaffney. Right. So, I mean, like I think we had the most community service hours. I don't think it was of a college at all, but I think it was like in D2. I think we had the most.
Okay.
For that one specifically, we went to schools. We helped them clean up. We helped them move things. I think we moved in stuff. We helped make gardens for the community, stuff like that. I mean, it was so much stuff. I can't even remember all of it. Like our coach made sure, like, no, like, you're going to get your community service hours, because I mean, that's a godly thing to do, is to help your community out. And he,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
one thing specifically, and I mean, I did this in high school. I helped at a senior citizen center.
Okay.
I helped hand out lunch. I helped call out bingo. And I think that's one thing that I really like doing, is spending time with them, because I mean, they don't get to see a lot of people my age come in there and help. And whenever I become a pro, I want to do any type of community service, honestly, whether it's through the church, about feeding people, helping people get food, anything like that. But I mean, I think specifically what I would like to do is help through the church, and help people get food that they need. Because I mean, there's too many situations out there where kids go hungry every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think church, I think it's big. I think it's very important that people get back into church and be involved in the church, and the church be involved in the community. I think that's a big deal. I go to church every Sunday, and I allowed my late teenage years, early adult years, um, death, divorce, life, military career, marriages, chasing dreams, goals, being a father. I allowed a lot of different things to kind of cause me not to be in such a good routine of being in church anymore. And so it's something I've recently gotten back into last summer. And I go every Sunday, and sometimes twice on Sunday, usually the morning, obviously, but sometimes the evening service too. So, yeah, I think that's important. Um, I think a lot of people are getting away from church, and that's part of the problem with this country now. With a lot of the problems we have, and I think being involved in the church is a great thing, and I think that being involved in the church gives you a lot of opportunities at different times to be involved in the community. So, um, yeah, I think that's huge. Um, who do you look up to?
I don't think I look up to anybody specifically. When I was younger, I might have a specific answer.
Okay, all
But I
right,
mean, as of right now, I've been reading the Bible a lot lately. I look up. I think somebody I really like admire is Elijah in the Bible,
okay,
because I mean, he stood up in front of people that wanted to end his life, and he spoke about the very thing that he believed in, which was our God Savior Jesus Christ. He stood on business, as people would say, and he talked about God in front of everybody, and he proved that the God that he believed in was greater than anything. And I admire him for that, just being fearless about his faith. And I mean, that's something that I want. That's something that I want. I want to be that
yeah.
person that no matter what stands in front of me, no, I know God's going to help me get through this.
How do you think? What's your thought? Let me. How do I ask this? How do you feel about the way the NFL reacted to Tim Tebow and the fact that his career was kind of closed out, not so much because of his abilities or lack of abilities in certain areas, but more so because of his belief in God and his religious beliefs?
I think that might have happened specifically because, I mean, like you said before, a lot of people aren't going to church, so they
Yeah,
don't want to see that stuff.
yeah,
And if you got enough people that say they don't want to see it, they're going to start trying to push people out.
yeah.
And I'm happy that Tim Tebow stood by it, and he didn't stop talking about God, because if you deny Christ now, he's going to deny you whenever you get up there. That's just how it
Mhm.
is.
Yeah. His throwing mechanics had some issues, but the fact was he was a winner, and
Oh
his
yeah.
players followed his lead, and they wanted him to lead, and he was an effective leader. But when he started kneeling and praying and really voicing his whole belief of God and the Bible and things like that, you could see the NFL become offended by it, and it was basically they tried to railroad him and run him out of town. And I'm glad he's been able to find opportunities in commentating, and he found some opportunities in chasing the baseball dream, and he's continued to push forward and do great things. But personally, I think it was wrong what the NFL did to him. He could have played 3 or 4 more years and maybe not won a Super Bowl, but I think he could have took some teams deep into the playoffs and turned a program around into a winning program. I think those are huge accomplishments in themselves. I just wanted to get your take on that, just because of the things that you were talking about. Just curious what your take on that was.
Yes, sir.
So you admire Elijah from the Bible. Now, on the flip side of that coin, who do you mold your? How do I say this? Who do you mold your game after on the field?
I would say corner wise, playing as a corner, I always watch Darrelle Revis highlights.
Okay.
That was my guy. It was right. him. It was him and Richard Sherman who I liked watching the most.
Okay. All right.
And then as a safety, I'm a Steelers fan, so this is like the first guy I ever saw. As a safety, I love Troy Polamalu. And then of course Ed Reed. And I love Troy because Troy was always doing what he had to do. He would make like different calls on his own. He's doing what it takes to make the play. And I always love the quote. He said, "Water covers 75% of the earth, and the rest is covered by Troy Polamalu." That was
Ed Reed was one of a kind. It came from the U, obviously. Long history of great players down there, and I still to this day the one clip from him at the University of Miami in the tunnel when he just loses it, starts cussing and yelling and screaming and banging his helmet and carrying on, and just that guy was a passionate football player. He loved the game. And he cared about winning, and he cared about the way the team looked to other people, and he didn't tolerate losing. He didn't tolerate imperfection at all. Ed felt like if he was going 115%, you better be going 130. And that's just how it was with him. And the whole Bethune-Cookman thing and coaching down there, I don't think it was really Ed. I think it was an administration that's not used to coaches wanting to be great and to create a great program. When you have administrators that are not used to that, they kind of get rubbed the wrong way by people that want to come in and be great and do great things and want to push the university and the athletic department and hold them accountable for their shortcomings. I just don't think they were ready for that. And so I think he kind of got railroaded there. But those are two good choices at safety. I give you that. Those are good choices. When the last game is played, cleats are hung up for the final time. Whether it's your body says, "Hey, enough is enough," or you personally sit down and think it through and say, "Hey, this is my stopping point." What are your goals and dreams, your plans after football? You got that degree. What are you trying to do once your career is over? What's the next chapter in John's journey?
Well, specifically, anything that'll get me closer to God, of course. Mm-hmm. I've always thought about becoming a pastor, anything like that. But I mean, as far as using my degree, frankly, being honest with the analytics part, I could still work in football. But I mean, if that's not an option, I would work in a bank maybe, because I mean, go with numbers. Why not? Pays a lot. I mean, I don't have a problem with a desk job at all. If it pays, it pays.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So here's a fun question. Now that we got through the serious stuff, we'll have a little fun here. College football, EA Sports 2025 is out on the market.
Yeah.
Playing it, it's a big craze right now. Have you played it yet?
I have not played it. I told my friends the minute I get some money, I'm getting on there. I'm creating my own player, and he's going to be just like me. I don't want a 99 overall. I want me in the game.
Now, are you part of the group of players that'll get compensation from the game, or
I just missed it.
Really?
Yeah, my friend was telling me too. He said if you would have stayed at Ohio for just one more year.
Well, you know they're getting like $600 and a copy of the game. How do you feel about that? And I asked that because it was reported, I think today or yesterday, it was something on Facebook where it was reported that EA Sports has made roughly about $500 million already off of the sales of the game. How do you feel about the whole $600 per player and a copy of the game? Kind of like, hey, here's the game. Here's $600. Best of luck to you.
I think money wise, the players, they should get paid they should get paid a certain amount per copy that's sold.
Okay.
Because like they're selling their name and image. So the simple fact that you only get paid $600 flat rate, that seemed kind of unfair.
Yeah.
But I mean that's probably something they could settle with, because I mean there's a lot of players on the game to begin with.
Yeah.
So I mean I guess that's okay. But like if I was in that situation, I would have went for more of like a royalties kind of thing, where like every time someone buys the game, I get a little bit, because there are people that were still playing NCAA 14 as of like last month. So I know people are going to keep buying this one.
Oh, absolutely.
The world has a copy.
Yeah. The entire United States was sitting on pins and needles just waiting for it to drop.
Exactly. And then they made this game almost exactly how we wanted it to. You can create your own player. You can create your own team. You can take a team all the way to the championship. They did it. They did exactly. They listened to us exactly how we wanted to. And that's how it should be.
I mean, between EA Sports, college football, and the Madden game, there's no other video games on the market since the original Nintendo, I don't think, that have ever had more of a following or more popularity than those two.
Exactly. And then there's people that haven't played a football game in years that are buying this one specifically because of the content that's on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they I mean, I wish they would have realized that sooner so I could be on the game.
Unfortunately, I live the disabled veteran, divorced veteran lifestyle. I got to get a video game system first before I can even get the game. So,
oh yeah, that'll run you about $600.
I fell off the bandwagon at the first Xbox about 20 years ago. So,
oh yeah, that's
when my daughter was born in 2001, that was the last time I played any video games. So
yeah, that's a good minute.
Yeah, I played PlayStation 4, I guess it was, with my brother not long ago, about a year ago. Whenever we watched football, we played a little bit, but I don't own the system. I haven't owned the system I used to be deep into it. I mean, first Nintendo, me and my brother both had Nintendos. We had Game Boys, we had all the games and the carriers, and we had the special controllers and all these things. And then it was Super Nintendo, and then it was Sega Genesis, and
dang, you had it all.
I mean, we did every system that came out. We both had them. But then like I said, adult life hit and I fell off the bandwagon. So my son is in the games, and I told him, I said, I'll try and see if Dad can't get us a system and some games. When you come back, we'll maybe hang out and play some games. So yeah, it's
as of recently, I think that's the only game worth buying. For sure.
I used to, man, when the first PlayStation came out, I worked with a sergeant in the Marine Corps that was a big electronics buff, and he knew how to put the mod chips in. So I paid him to put a mod chip in
Ooh.
the system, and he soldered it in and everything. And this was when Blockbuster was still a thing. This is when the Blockbuster stores were still open. I would go and rent 2 games on Friday night after work, and I'd go home, and I had a program on my computer. I could burn copies to blank CDs. And so 2 hours later, I'd take them back and rent 2 more games. And so by the time the weekend was over, I probably rented like 10, 15 games. And Blockbuster like, why do you keep coming back in here? Well, I beat the games. I'm just really good. I beat the games.
I just beat 'em.
I'm bored. I want something else to play, And so, but then probably a month or so, I had like 40, 50 games. But one of mine was Tiger Woods golf. I was all about some Tiger Woods golf. Now I'm not real good in real life with golf. I do pretty well in the video game, but yeah, football, golf, Madden. I was big Super Mario person.
There it is. Yeah, I was about to say you got Nintendo.
Mario Brothers was my thing. Now, my childhood best friend, he passed away some years ago in a house fire. Anyway, we used to take turns on the weekends. I'd spend the night at his house, or the next weekend he'd stay at my house or whatever. And when I was at his house, his mom was a nurse at Vanderbilt, and she worked third shift. And so she would leave us there with his dad and his sister, and she would buy us Little Caesars pizzas and make chocolate chip cookies. And we had 2 liters of pizza and cookies, and we'd stay up all night playing Super Mario Brothers till we beat it. And I'll never forget Super Mario 3 dropped. We stayed up for like 2 straight days playing that game. Like, we beat it in the first weekend, but we stayed up quite a lot of hours doing that. So I used to be a huge video game guy. I used to have the Nintendo magazines and all the cheat books. And
yeah.
I fell off a long time ago. I had video games when it kind of fell to the wayside. I would love to get back into it. I just don't have the money to do that kind of thing, to support that habit. So,
yeah, no, I get it 100%. They're getting more expensive by the day.
Golly, $600 is ridiculous. I'll go to like GameStop and buy a used refurbished system or something.
Yeah, I mean, you might have some saved games on there too. Actually,
like that's just crazy. It's nuts. I play my free game on my phone, Texas Hold'em poker and pool. I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm good with that. Every now and again, I'll stop and take a break and I'll play a game of pool. And it's like, all right, gotta put that down. Got work to do.
I got my one game in.
Get my one game in for the day to stay motivated. I had to ask about the EA Sports 25 football. What's your favorite part about the new design? I know you said you haven't played it, but what you know about it, what's your favorite part of it?
I think the thing that I've seen that I like the most is that they didn't really change it much from how Madden is played.
Okay.
But like the overall design is a lot better than the Madden games like really were. Like and I think it might be just how I've seen people talk about the user capabilities and stuff, because for me, I was always playing the safety whenever I played Madden, and I would pick a pass off. Like that's just how I was. Like I would just be eyeballing which route he's gonna throw it to and just take it.
Hey, but Madden was the game now. You gotta admit that Madden tournament that made a lot of people a lot of money.
We actually when I was at Ohio, we had somebody who actually participated in a Madden tournament. Like he went to I think it was over there in California, and he competed. He was like number 5 in the country.
Yep.
Like, man.
Yeah, I'm sure there still are, but there were big tournaments where a lot of cash money was being paid out. And that's now why colleges have esports teams. Now the kids getting scholarships to go to college to play video games. So
I I should have got good at video games when I had the chance. That's the problem.
I think that's kind of the dumbest thing in the world. It's not really a sport, but they've created it as a sport. Now, just like the TV show Ballers with The Rock, even in there, they touch on the whole esports and developing a team and competing and money. And I mean, it's a big deal now. So,
there's kids younger than me that are becoming millionaires because of it.
yeah, there's a lot of people on YouTube. Believe me, I got a 13-year-old son, as I told you. He watches those YouTube shorts, and there's one. I don't know. I think it's Unthinkable or some crap. It's these three guys just doing stupid stuff. Like they play tag, hide and go seek in an NFL stadium, and like if you were the last one caught, you got like $15,000, and it had all the biggest YouTube influencers come to like Arrowhead, and they played hide and go seek in the stadium, and then they filled up a stadium with like bouncy balls or some crap, and they get millions of views, and they're getting millions of dollars from YouTube to do this nonsense. Like they had a blow up slide and a pool full of like, it wasn't jelly beans, like little fake crystals, whatever,
like Orbeez or something. I think
yeah. And they were sliding into that, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, who watches this crap? And he was like, I do. And then Roblox. That's a big deal now. People on YouTube playing Roblox. I'm like, looks like a Lego man running around on a video screen doing stupid stuff. Like,
and they love that stuff too, man.
He's hooked on it. Like, they'll sit there hours watching that crap, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, this is not entertaining at all. Oh, Roblox. Got to buy more Roblox. I'm like, who come up with this crap? Like, it just, some of the new generation stuff just does not make sense to me. We've gone beyond video games into a whole nother level. It doesn't make sense. Maybe that's just my age. I don't know, but
no, I'm with you on that one. I don't think people should be getting paid to do that. Like, that's a hobby at best, maybe.
Dude, I mean, I'm not the most charismatic person in the world. I wish I had their charisma to do those things and be on YouTube just being stupid and making money. Like, they're really driving Lamborghinis and crap because they're making millions of dollars doing absolutely nothing. You know,
not even a life skill. They're just playing video games.
And normal everyday people are jealous because we're out here grinding and working our tails off trying to make a little bit of money, and these guys and girls are doing nothing on YouTube, being stupid and making millions of dollars. Like, if I would have known years ago that's all I had to do was be stupid on YouTube, I'd be a millionaire now too. I'd figure out something to do, and like,
I'd be living a whole different life.
Yeah, like, he watches that stuff all the time, and I'm just, like, this makes no sense. Like, my nephews, my niece, even my niece is playing Roblox.
Oh,
like, my sister came down for the summer, or came up from Florida for the summer with the kids. Her husband's in the Navy, and he's stationed in D.C. right now, and he's on his last year before he retires, and so he's got an apartment in D.C., and they didn't want to disrupt the kids' school and friends and activities, so she stayed in Florida with the kids at the house. So she came to Tennessee, to hang out and visit. So it was my son and my niece and nephew and and everybody, and they're all tablets and phones, like Roblox, like almost like a bunch of robots. Like, gotta buy more Roblox. That's Roblox. Like, the whole time I'm like, go outside, go play, go do something constructive.
Exactly. They don't know what it means to be active anymore.
No, I mean, seriously, they were mesmerized. They were all, like I said, tablets and phones. Roblox. Five more Roblox. Roblox. Are you watching Roblox? I'm watching Roblox.
Are you watching Roblox?
Like they'd be sitting next to each other. You can literally just lean over and see, and they'd be like, "You watching Roblox? I'm watching Roblox. Watch this video."
Watch this video.
Like, dude, it's so stupid. I grew up in a whole different era, so I see that stuff, and it just kills me. You know,
It's only going to get worse because now they got virtual reality too.
Yes, my son. I made the mistake at Christmas. I paid the $300 for the Oculus headset.
But see, the Oculus really isn't a bad thing because you can kind of stay active at the same time.
Actually, it is. I have a nephew that's 7.
7?
And you have to take it away from him and hide it and make him go do something else.
Oh,
He will stay inside 24 hours a day on his Oculus. When you make him take a break, his hair is soaking wet. He's dripping wet, sweating from how like playing Oculus.
Oh my goodness.
Like, yeah. He's like it's almost like a crack addiction for him. Like,
yeah, I was about to say sweating.
Yeah, like take it away from him, and he's like, like
start itching.
Yeah, like, he's like, Oculus, give me my Oculus, Oculus, I need my Oculus. Like he's like freaking out, and I'm like, dude, it's not that serious.
Yeah, man.
Seriously, I've watched him, and the kids fight over it. I've never seen a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old fight over something so much. Stupid Oculus headset.
Yeah, no.
If one's playing it, the other wants it. If nobody's playing it, nobody wants it. But as soon as somebody touches it, the other one wants it. And it's like, okay, let me have it now. Okay, it's my turn now. And I'm like, find something more productive. Like go outside, ride bikes, or shoot basketball, or go roll down the hill or something. Just put this stupid game down. Like it's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
but my nephew's hooked on it like a crack addict likes crack. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't get enough.
No, like my stepmom even has to make him take it off. And he got mad the other day and laid on the couch and turned over and went to sleep. He was so mad. He just started pouting and throwing the temper tantrum. I was like, screw you. I'm going to lay down and go to sleep.
My goodness, man. That's crazy. There's no way.
No. Like, and I hate it because my son's so much into it. I try to, even at 13, I'm trying to regulate him and like, you only get so much video game time a day. Like, you're not going to sit in here and work your thumbs all day.
Yeah, for real. That's how you create couch potatoes, man. We don't need that. That's
But parents are so quick to, in order to shut a kid up, they'll hand them their cell phone, watch a video, play a game. Here's my tablet, go play a game. Just leave me alone. Like parents are so quick to do that's what kids are used to now. They're addicted to tablets and phones and games.
Because that's all they know now. Because they've had it sitting right in front of them since they were like 3 years old.
Because parents don't want to be parents. They'd rather just figure out a way to push them off and go do something else.
Exactly.
So here's my phone, watch a video. Here's my tablet, go play. My nephew hits the door at my dad and stepmom's. Nana, what's the code to your tablet? First thing, not hi, how you doing, missed you, nothing like, what's the code to your tablet?
Oh, no, that's too much.
It's crazy. Video games is a big deal now. These kids are hooked on it. Like I said, it's almost like crack to a crack addict. I mean, they're so hooked they can't put the stuff down. I mean, you literally have to take it away and hide it. Turn it off, throw it away, hide it somewhere. Like it'll drive you crazy. You want to throw your own tablet away. You want to take your own phone and throw it away and be like, get out of here.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like that. Stop it.
My stepmom, she gets to that point. She's ready to throw the tablet in the trash can. Like she just don't want nothing to do with it anymore, you know?
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best way to go about it. Just get rid of it altogether.
Yeah. Listen, we have hit an hour and a half. I told you we'd stay within an hour and a half time frame. It's been an amazing interview. I've had fun with it. I hope you enjoyed it. I know everybody that's watching got a chance to get to know you, and those that will watch it will get a real good chance to know you. Tell everybody what social media platforms you're on. How can they find you if they want to reach out directly? What's your handles? What platforms?
I'm on Instagram. Well, it's called X now. X, Facebook. I got a TikTok account. I'm not proud of it. I got it just because I do.
You're a TikToker.
Yeah. I post Bible verses on there here and there, you know.
Okay, all right. I'll let you get away with that one.
But my Instagram handle is Heisman2K, like the trophy.
Yep.
And my X account or Twitter account is John_H_Gregory. And I believe my TikTok account, I think that's Heisman2K. It might be Iron Body 24. I can't really remember right now. If you don't find it, I'm okay with that too.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm not hating. A lot of people making money off of these social media platforms, so I give them all the credit in the world.
I'm about to say, if I'm going to use it to do anything, I'm spreading the word of God, and I'll get famous that way.
There you go. Hey, nothing wrong with that too. I want to thank everybody that's watched, everybody that's tapped in and viewed, everybody that will view, the likes, the hearts. Appreciate that. We're always trying to get as much viewership and eyes on these players as we can. In addition to John's social media, you can reach his profile on our website via the information scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You can text, DM us, WhatsApp us, call us with any opportunities that you may have for John that you'd like to discuss. We look forward to hearing from any and all teams, general managers, coaches, scouts, player personnel, directors. Got a big DB here waiting for a good opportunity. So we look forward to the doors starting to open very soon. But again, we've hit that hour and a half mark, so we're not going to hold John up. Obviously, we got other things going on today, and we'll make sure we let these guys go do what they got to do. So with that being said, I hope everybody has a good week. Hope you have a good weekend. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you back here again on another Hidden Gems live stream interview. Thanks so much. And